Chapter 98. While they were sleeping, the lamp burned down. They woke in a blackness so dense it would have put the fear of death in coal tar. Bernard struck a match, and Lee Cherie gripped his arm. "Are you thinking what I'm thinking?" she asked. "I doubt it. I was thinking about the origin of the word pumpkin. It's such a cute word, kind of plump and friendly and sexy in a farmer's daughter sort of way. Perfect. I wonder who came up with that word. Some old pumpkin patch poet in ancient Greece, I suppose. A traveling salesman out of Babylon? Bernard, knock it off. It's been hours. I'm sure it's well past dawn." "You'd never know in this bar. Here, let me light a lamp." He managed to ignite another of the antique lanterns. "If he hasn't let us out by now..." "Bernard, this is no temporary peak. He means to leave us in here." "I'm afraid you're right. There's no way he could release us now without considerable embarrassment. If he's like a lot of men, he'd rather be a murderer than a fool." Lee Cherie was silent for a while. Then, abruptly, she laughed. "But it's okay, isn't it?" She flashed him a grin wide enough to deliver the Sunday New York Times through. "You've got your dynamite. Precious little good it'll do us here." Her smile snapped shut. Her heart called the New York Times and canceled its subscription. "What do you mean?" 3 years ago in Hawaii, I tried to explain to you about dynamite. A bomb is not one of your pat solutions. Dynamite is a question, not an answer. It can keep things from solidifying. It can keep the ticket open. Sometimes just raising the question is enough to regenerate life, enough to reverse the decay that results from indifference. But dynamite is useless to us here. Sure, we could blast the door down, but there's no place for us to take cover. The explosion will kill us. Lee Cherie began to weep. For a beautiful royal princess, she'd certainly shed a lot of tears in her life. Bernard hugged her tightly. His fingers ran like foxes through the forest of her hair. "You know," he said, "I'll bet pumpkin is an American word. It just sounds American to me. Sweet, dumb, well-fed, optimistic, down-home, ball of fun. I think of a Midwest cheerleader getting knocked up on the back seat of a Chevy after a frosty Friday night football game. You know what I mean? American pumpkin." Chapter 99. Outside, dragnet was being woven. Due to the political climate of the Middle East, in the last quarter of the 20th century, everybody, including Julieta, had swallowed Aben Fizzle's story of Zionist abduction. Police from a score of nations and troops from a dozen armies were searching for Princess Lee Cherie. Jew and Arab alike searched for her, and in their combined efforts achieved a kind of peaceful cooperation they had all too seldom known. Inside, it was not unlike McNeil Island or the attic. Bernard and Lee Cherie were far better conditioned than most for confinement. There was even a package of camels to keep them company. To be sure, nobody shoved in lunch plates or chamber pots, but Pyramid Power kept the wedding cake oven fresh, and she had her corner for elimination and he his. As the days passed, they rationed increasingly smaller portions of cake and champagne, yet it seemed as if they had an indefinite supply. "What I miss most is the moon," said Lee Cherie. The outlaw said he missed it too. What they would do when they were free...
Incoming call from Aaron Ann.